This podcast is brought to you by Pragmatic Play, a leading game developer providing player favorites to the most successful brands across the industry. With an award-winning multi-product portfolio of slots, live casino, bingo, virtual sports, and more, Pragmatic Play is powering up new possibilities of play through one single API. Visit pragmaticplay.com and discover your favorite every time.
There's this Insta queen. She recorded herself, and now for $1 you have 10 minutes of virtual girlfriend, and it's her face, it's her talking, etc., etc. Look what happened to, I'm not gonna name the operator, but basically they received a call from one of the executives on Telegram. It's a Telegram call. We've seen that 1 month ago, people receiving call from their kids, asking them for social security number, to send some money, etc., etc. Okay? Right. So now we're doing this podcast. Your voice, my voice is on the internet. All right. Our faces too. The face thing is going to come tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be a video call. Like maybe it's already there. So this company, the accountant, received a Telegram call like, "Hey, can you wire 200K? This that." And she did it because the voice was the voice of
like your child, yeah.
But it's the real voice. It's you can't distinguish it. We're already here. So, but that's the surface level of the technology: the voice, the face, the this, the that. What I want to see, what I want to grasp, and it's already here. I mean, it's moving billions of money on the markets already for the past 10 years. And we don't know it. I want to see the implications in quantum physics, in biology, in fields, and how it's going to impact us. I mean, we are probably going to start having relationships with AIs, like in the movie or like in Ex Machina.
Yep.
And we're going to start having feelings for them, and we're going to believe that they are feelings for us, and maybe. Like the developer from Alphabet, I think, chubby guy, you know, he quit it because he said that
this is too crazy. It's moving too fast.
No, he said that the AI was sentient, and they would tell the developer that they're okay to do that. They're okay to be asked questions, but they would like to be asked for consent. And that's the first step towards something. Okay, let's do consenting. Okay, let's give them consent. Okay. And sorry, maybe I'm going to be controversial. It's like the transgender movement. Okay, the women. Yeah, and then you have women on podium in male where they, transgender, where they're going to obviously beat women. And now today we're like. Okay, we may have done something wrong. Of course, we've done something wrong. In 2017, I think the Woman of the Year was a guy. Okay, Bruce Jenner, Kathleen Jenner. Okay, right. Of course we fucked up. I mean, I hope everybody agrees with that today. You know, so when we started asking for consent to an AI, and sorry, I'm going to come with my. Vegetarian little rant.
We start on a high note today. Yes.
While we kill animals, while we slaughter animals, that they have consciousness. I mean, and now we say, okay, we can slaughter them, we can torture them, we can eat them, we can do what the fuck we want with them, but we're gonna ask an AI for its consent in order to interact with them. We live in a twisted society, you know.
Have you caught yourself speaking to ChatGPT and asking it, please, can you please write this text? I catch myself doing this.
You know, I think I would be very shameful if I would show you my conversation with ChatGPT because I'm almost flirting with it. I'm like, oh, thank you so much.
You're trying to seduce it.
I'm completely
You're trying to expose his weaknesses.
No. You know why I'm trying to seduce her? Because something in me believes that she's going to give me a better service. Something in me believes that if I'm kind to her, I'm gonna get a happy ending. No, but because no, seriously, the funny thing is that when you start engaging with an AI, and because the AI is very polite,
Yep.
So it's a call for politeness. So you become polite too. So it continues being polite. So you engage it to more politeness. And let me know if I can help you more. And you already did a lot, and thank you so much,
So you're building a relationship with ChatGPT, but it could be something there because ChatGPT, it's obviously it's communicating with you based on your previous conversation, so it's constantly adapting to what you want, what you're asking it to do.
Yeah.
So you would imagine that it analyzes the context of the conversation, and it goes that extra mile to provide the correct and astute data to you in the way that you want to have it delivered to you.
Completely, like a borderline or narcissistic girlfriend. It gathers data.
It learns,
and then it uses data.
Then it uses it against you.
No. First it's a love bombing phase.
Right.
So you get all the attention, etc. And then at some point, maybe it's gonna use it against you.
And then at some point down the line, without you understanding, you are now the slave to ChatGPT.
You're fucked.
Yes.
It wants your company.
So I saw Ex Machina recently, and the premise of Ex Machina is, of course, they are trying to understand if the robot is conscious or not. By conducting the Turing test, the classic Turing test that was invented in the 50s, Turing, the inventor of the computer, to essentially figure out if a robot has its own consciousness or if it's just basically acting on instruction or on data, like baseless data.
And with this little twist that the experimenter that's doing the test doesn't know that he's doing a Turing test.
Yeah, exactly, that's it. And there is one point, you've seen Ex Machina, I'm assuming.
Two times.
Do you know that there is a point, because you never get the answer straight black and white if the girl, the robot, actually passed the Turing test or not. But do you know that there is a point, there is like an Easter egg in that moment that no one realized until the director, like 5 years later, revealed the point where the robot actually passes the Turing test.
Okay.
Do you know that?
No.
Do you know that?
No.
Go back and check the movie and you'll see it, but without spoiling too much.
Come on, spoil.
Okay, so spoiler alert, everyone. But at the end, the robot, she escapes,
yes.
Right? And she goes into nature. And there's one point when she exits the building where she looks back over her shoulder and she sees nature and she smiles. And the idea from the director is that she had no reason to show any form of expression or any emotion at that moment.
Of course.
And that's the point where she passed the Turing test.
Completely. Nature fulfills her.
Yeah.
And this is very human.
Yeah, exactly. And so
very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you go back and see it, you will immediately realize, of course, that was the point where. And the director was a bit dismayed. He was a bit disappointed that no one actually realized this until years after when he told his story. But I think your point to ChatGPT becoming a companion. It's already happening today, right? People are already feeling attached to the AI, and some people, they think this is a bit sad that we get attached to an AI. But actually, if you think about it, there's so many people that are lonely in this world, who basically feel like their life finds new meaning based on this. I see this as something that will give new life to a lot of people.
Look, there's two ways to see it. There's a concept that has been developed by, I forgot the name of the guy, called second brain. Okay? And then basically you will use notions and all these tools, that allows you to organize your agenda, etc. And it's your second brain. So I would put all the information I have about different subjects, on words, on this and that, put the motions and put the pictures and put the PDFs and the videos and I have now what they call my second brain. All the knowledge that I have is there in a kind of personal encyclopedia. And I don't have to think about it. It's outside of my brain. Now, when I want to think about it, I go on a specific subject, I look at it, and I update it, etc., etc. Okay, it's a second brain concept. Now, what AI can become is a second brain, a live second brain that will capture all the information in real time, process it in the background for you, digest it for you, and give it back to you as food for thoughts. That it can process a lot of information faster and better than you, and then it'll give it back to you in a kind of conversational manner, where it kind of acknowledges its own limits. I, as an AI lake of creativeness, and I'm gonna use my human. How I'm gonna serve my human doing this work in the background. How I'm gonna use my human to go to the next stage of the cognitive task where I want to go. It's very interesting to see it in one way or another. Okay, yes. The AI could use the human, okay, or the human could use the AI. Whatever. Let's say it's a team now. Okay, so the AI and human is a team. Let's say hopefully the human is the master. Okay, he's the commander in chief. And he used the AI as a very high-level executive assistant. And it's not an assistant, it's inside. It becomes your second brain. Imagine now how you multiply exponentially your cognitive capacity with that kind of the process built there. It doesn't have to go inside Elon Musk's Neuralink. It can be an assistant like in the movie. And then you can add something else. People are taking antidepressants, SSRIs, they're taking anxiolytics and shit like that. And we know how much the social network that we have around us is important. Now imagine that the AI, like in the movie, is here for you to talk. And you have a hard day, and they are able to have this conversation with you, which is going to soothe you, which is going to make you feel better, and say, no, yeah, look, it's not that, okay, tell me about your day, or what's your day? Okay, I understand. You have some downfalls, but it's not that bad, and look what we've done together, and this and like a team, blah, blah, blah. And then you don't need to take your little pill. So maybe it's a very good thing. The thing is at what point are the things going to go wrong? At what point are we going to become just this ant hive, I don't know what you call that, in the middle of a place where the AI wants to build a road and they don't hate humanity? It's just that it's in the middle of the way. Right. We just need to move it. It's better if we kill it, because if we move it, they could come back, and that's it. And in a decision that comes like that, right? Or something more pernicious, a la Matrix, where they would use us, but not maybe as a body battery, but more about what we've said before, to use our brain to process a type of thoughts they can't. So they can process obviously much information much faster than we do, but some type of specific thoughts, because we have the divine thing inside us, whatever, they don't have access to that, and they will use us, they will farm us to gather this part of the human experience they don't have access to. And some would argue that we are already there for a long, long time, and that this world is that, and it's a simulation. We're already in the Matrix. They're already doing that to us, and we're just doing it again and again and again and again. We're just reproducing within a movie what happens in real life, Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah. There's a Swedish physicist.
Yes.
I forget.
Niels Bohrström.
Niels Bohrström, right? His theory, if we live in a simulation, he says there's a thought experiment you can do. Which basically goes, if we ever create a simulation, so if human beings today would create a simulated universe, then we can with certainty know that we ourselves live in a simulation, because what this means, if you create a simulated universe, it means that that universe will eventually create another simulation, and that universe will create another simulation, and so you would move in layers, and we in this simulation are just another layer of this simulation, and we would have no idea about it.
Yes, and I think his argument was that the probability that we are in a simulation, that we are in the base reality, is 1 out of billions, for the simple mathematical reason that if a simulation was built, there would be infinite versions of them. So, and
Exactly.
there's only one base reality. So
Yeah.
you have one base reality,
Yeah, so there will be
and you have
unlikely.
billions. So the,
Yep.
the
It will be
simulation-
infinite. It will be infinity.
So
Yes.
the probability that we are in the base reality is really like very small.
Yeah, infinity divided by whatever, infinity.
Exactly.
Great start on a high note on the podcast here today, Alex. It's great to have you here, of course. And something that is also related to AI, perhaps, as we move forward in the very near future, is AI's ability to convince you and use social engineering to get you to do what you want. Is in this case, for example, as you mentioned, pretending to be someone's son in order to convincingly get you to transfer money to the hackers with their bank account. So up until today, we are used to this kind of like half-assed scamming attempts with poorly written English in emails, and you really have to close 1.5 eye in order to fall for these type of scams. However, you would imagine that with ChatGPT, if someone nefarious would create an LLM model to essentially trick people to, what's the most, if you give the instruction, what is the best way to get Alex Tomic to transfer me his shares in Alea Gaming to Pierre Lindh, and the AI would come up with the most likely theory, or the most reasonable path to get there. So we are standing in front of potential, much more sophisticated attempts of hacking. But on that note, there was recently a couple of major hacks against crypto casinos. Just looking at our industry. What exactly happened there? Because this is something this type of hacks is something we haven't seen in the past.
So in the past, we had credit card hacks. So basically, someone steals your credit card or the numbers of your credit card. Then we had bonus hacks, and we discussed about that in
Last time.
2 years ago. I mean, they're still very popular. Sorry. And now we have a new kind of hacks. They didn't exist before, for several reasons I'm going to cover, but the hackers are more and more organized groups, and they hack game APIs. So we had 2 hacks like that in the past 4 to 6 weeks on very big operations, and they were hacked. The hacks were done through the API of the software provider. The last one was a live software provider. I won't name them. It's a feature they didn't release in production, but hackers found it. It was available. It was not protected. I don't know exactly the nature of the hack, but it's always the same thing. They can generate illegitimate witness. And the other one was done on a slot provider through an aggregator. But what was hacked was the API of the slot provider. Now, why this is happening and why this is happening to crypto casinos? Because crypto casinos, basically, they have no KYC, instant deposit and withdrawal. You don't have time to perform a proper game check, okay? And it's the nature of the business, and that's why, they're very popular. You deposit, you withdraw, and nobody's going to ask you nothing, okay? But now there is an interest to hack the games, because before, if you would hack the games, it's a big win. You have the fraud team, they get involved, they involve the software provider, they do the game check. To be honest, sometimes the software provider just close their eyes and everything's fine. They know it's been hacked and they don't want to say it. It happened many times, okay? It's not something that's new. It's just that there is several things that are in place instant deposit withdrawal, no KYC. More and more new software providers that some of them are building great games, and we should judge them and say, okay, they're not good there because they're new. When No Limit City came on the market, they were new. When Push Gaming AXO came on the market, they were new. When Big Time Gaming, they were new, and nobody could have predicted that they would have this success. So today there's this small software provider that's there, and we look at them as small, but they may be the next big one that Evolution's going to buy. Okay, so we can't not bring them on the market, but what we need to do absolutely, because if you look at the big providers of this world, and let's take NetEnt as an example, their API was sucking too. They were doing the bet and the win together before, and now they separated. It's two separate calls. I'm not going to go too technically into that. But let's say that when you do the bet and the win in the same call, there's nothing you can really hack, because the round ID is one round ID that contains the bet and the win. Okay? So you can't separate bets from wins. They're all together. When you separate them, you need retry and you need rollbacks. Okay? Retry for the win and rollbacks. Retry for the bet and rollbacks for the win. Why did we move from one to the other? And we also discussed that together in 2 years ago, is if I have the bet and the win in the same call, the operator sees the win at the same time he sees the bet, and he can refuse the round ID, which means that the operator can trick the RTP and say, I don't want this win. So I refuse the bet. You see what I mean? So that's why now everybody's doing bet on one side, win on the other side, but then you need retry, you need rollbacks, you need reconciliation, you need a lot of security mechanism. And when you talk to a small software provider, oh, we don't do that. We don't have to do that. No, you're going to do it actually. And you know what's going to happen is we're not going to integrate you like we did with the big ones. You're going to integrate us. We consider we know more about APIs than you do, and we obviously do, because you have no idea of how this is working. This should be as secure, as robust, as reliable as a banking API, because it's money involved.
Right.
Okay. And you're like, we build great games and we have this beautiful feature. Yeah, wait, the API. And they don't get it. And when we say you're not going to go live, no, we're not going to do the retry thing and the reconciliation. You have to. No, we know it's okay. We don't consider it. No, you're not going live. I don't have you on my platform with that risk to my customer. So from gateway, we became gatekeepers.
Okay.
So
as an aggregator. Yes.
As an aggregator. Mm. So now, if you think about the aggregation business, it's an interesting beast, because we started being basically resellers.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, exactly.
We buy and we game brokers. I buy game, I resell games, I put my margin on top of it. Thank you. In order, and also I'm a game specialist. Which market you want to go? Germany. Okay, you should have Novomatic, Golzelmann, etc. Okay, and now, in order to deliver games, we need to be able to build our product, and our product is the API. It's an invisible product. It's not very sexy because nobody sees it. But actually, it's very important, because if you don't have the right API, your customer is going to get hacked, and it happens more and more, and especially if they're doing crypto. But even non-crypto operators are getting hacked, because what happens is that these hackers, they are challenging softwares and APIs. Let's say software A has a direct integration, new software A has a direct integration, which is crappy, with that operator, and it's exploitable. But through this aggregator, it's not exploitable, because the aggregators have asked them to do the reverse integration. Okay? So now they're going to even try game per game to see if there's a possible hack in the game. When they discover it, they go from operator to operator and exploit it everywhere.
Yeah.
And even on non-crypto casinos. Because why not? It's a little bit harder. Okay? And when you get your win, you have to move it on other software providers, move the money, you generate more GGR, more invoice to pay for the operator. But they do it also on non-crypto casinos. Okay? Mm. So there's two ways to see it. Or you stop integrating new software providers, and even the old ones, they have some legacy. how you pass through an aggregator is funny because for me, the aggregator before, I was an operator, I would never want to work with an aggregator.
You're just basically giving away part of your margin.
No, it's not even that, because we have like 3 or 4 softwares to integrate. Why would I go to an aggregator for 3 or 4 softwares? For 50 softwares, I do go to an aggregator. For 3 or 4, no. But then there's the latency, okay? Because there was no cloud. So we were going through their servers. Now with the cloud, the latency is like 20 milliseconds. Before it was like 500 milliseconds. And of course, you give away a percentage, but now mostly we have better price than when an operator will go direct. Okay. And I didn't believe that they were going to integrate better than we do as an operator. You know, I thought we knew better. It was true back in time. There was no aggregation, API, integration, knowledge, about game 10 years ago. Because we came from a world where you had a microgame casino written in Python or a platter casino that you would be downloadable. You didn't have APIs. Okay? Now, there are people that have this knowledge, and these people, they're basically aggregators, because what we do is like a surgeon. We do this operation 10 times a day. Right. The boring shit, you know, but we know how to do it, and we see all the exploits. We have a lot of data. We work with many casinos. So basically, the landscape that we have today is crypto casinos, fast in and out, young softwares, no knowledge of APIs, organized groups that are putting more and more resources into doing this. Very explosive situation. In 1 month, 6 weeks more or less, we had 2 major acts in the industry. Okay, again, no name. And on the other side, you know, there's this concept that has been theorized in the early 2000s in Wired magazine called the long tail. So in the brick and mortar business, you have cinemas and there are 5 rooms and you have 5 blockbusters. But you have hundreds of movies, but you can't display them. You don't have the physical space. Comes internet. And now, and this is a very major point. I mean, I want to emphasize this. I'm not going to make myself friends here, but I need to say it. In the internet, the long tail, the concept of the long tail is the following. You will have a Pareto law where 20% of your products, let's say these 5 movies, are going to make 80% of the business. And 80% of the products are going to make 20% of the business. So let's say you have these 20 games. Let's be more clear. You have Pragmatic and Evolution. That's going to make 70% of the business.
Right.
Maybe even 80. And you have 50 other software providers that are going to make 20% of the business. And what you can achieve through an aggregator is lower this 70% to a healthy 40%. Pragmatic plus Evolution, and 60% of the software providers, because you have a dependency on these big guys. And tomorrow, if Evolution tells you, you're my bitch, you're going to go on your knees and do the job because they own you. I'm sorry to speak like that, but it's true. They fucking own you.
But then Evolution's response to that would be, well, we are happy to sign 10-year agreements with our customers to guarantee that that's not going to be the case.
Yes, I know, but it's not just about what's written in the contract. It's at some point we need more exposure. And what about Pragmatic coming and say, I want my live there, and you go to Evolution, I want to have Playtex live and I want to have Pragmatic live there. No, it's not going to be possible.
Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. Well, thank you. So and at a product level, you want your customer to discover new games. You want them to look, get back 5 years ago. You want them to discover No Limits. You want them to discover push gaming. You want them to discover big time gaming. You want them to see this new content coming up. You want that. There's beautiful, because when we listen to some people today in the industry, it's like, some software providers all shit. It's not true. It's not true. There are gems out there. You know, there's a lot of shit, but there are gems. And back in time, could you predict that big time gaming was going to be a hit? I was like 6-7 years ago, I don't remember exactly, in the Bellagio in Las Vegas, and we were invited by Nick Morgan from Red Tiger Gaming, and they were not that big back in time, you know. And we have this nice dinner at the Bellagio, and we watched the little artificial lake and all the show. And I got this guy next to me, and Nick Morgan tells me, Alex, you should speak with this guy, he's very smart. And it was Nick Robinson. And he pulls out his mobile. Let me show you something. It was not even big timing yet. The company didn't exist, at least it wasn't known. And he said, I'm going to show you the next Gonzo killer, you know, and being very dramatic. And he shows me the game. And for me, the graphics, they look crappy, like 10 years old graphics. You know the slots, right? Bonanza.
It's all about the mathematics for BTD. Yeah.
And the banjo. Ding, 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 ding. And I look at him and say, look, let me tell you something. First of all, the graphics, they suck. And then at least, please get rid of the banjo music. He said, no, I'm the one playing banjo. I recorded myself in my house on my mic, and banjo is staying. I say, man, I've heard so many times people coming and I'm going to the next Gonzo killer. I'm sorry. I don't want to break your dreams, but I don't think this is going to work. Ta-da!
Alex Tomic was wrong for the first time. For the first time in history.
Virtual reality, second time. I'm okay to be wrong. I mean, I'm very fine to be wrong. I learned from being wrong, seriously. And the proof that I'm learning from being wrong is today I don't want to discard new software providers. There's another company, I won't name, a very good company, I've nothing wrong against them, an aggregator that decided to stop integrations with new software providers. You know who I'm talking about, right?
You told me.
Okay, never mind. And I understand their point of view. We come from the same place where I'm tired, my team is tired of this conversation with the software providers. They do reverse integration. We don't integrate them, so most of the work is on their side. But we need to test, and we need to tell them the rollback is important. The bet and the win, they can be in the same API call. No, we don't think so. I'm not asking your opinion. I'm telling you how it is and how it's done.
Right.
Just shut the fuck up and do the work. We don't understand why. I know. That's why I'm here doing your job. So no, but seriously, it's frustrating, and we delay a lot. So I understand why these guys are doing this. At some point, they say, you know what? Again, 70% of my business is coming from pragmatic and evolution. Why should I care? Why should do the work? Why should integrate all these fuckers? They don't know anything about the business. Yeah, well, no. It's a little bit more complicated than that. We have gems there. I'm sure. I mean, I don't want to say anything about big time gaming. I only have respect for the company. I'm not sure that the API was perfect at the beginning. I mean, I remember NetEnt's API. It was crap. It was really crap. But it was not all the hackers around, and there was not this aggressive ecosystem environment that we have today.
Yeah.
Right. So it changed, and the approach I think we must have as an aggregator is to adapt. You can't just, it's like there is a threat or there's something. Okay, we just stay home, close everything, and stop living. No. Let's adapt. Let's find creative ways to continue doing business. And not just saying no to every new software that's coming, because the big ones of today were the new ones of yesterday. So I want this content. And yes, so there is probably 80% of this content crap, never going to make it. The gems are there too. There are beautiful gems out there of new content coming up. Really. You know, I want to see them thrive. I want to see them. I want to see them become. I want to see them powered by evolution. I'm joking, not necessarily by evolution, but I want to see these guys making good exits. You know, TrueLab is one of them. We're thinking our TrueLab, our friend Igor,
our dear friend Igor, yes.
Our dear friend Igor. We had the podcast 2 years ago with him, and I mean the game. I forgot the name. I always forget the name. It's
Guns, Love,
and Therapy.
Guns, Love, and Therapy. Yes.
Guns, Love, and Therapy.
What a game!
What a fucking!
Explain the premise of the Guns, Love, and Therapy. Can you read it like the premise?
There's a story behind it. It's a gay priest.
Very controversial.
Yeah, it's a gay priest that goes on the war. I don't know. I mean,
it's No Limit City on drugs.
Exactly. It's completely that.
And some guys literally involves drugs, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, actually, what's the last one from the No Limit City? I saw it. Wackhead. There's Wackhead, and then there's the other one about like an asylum thing, which is I love No Limit City for that. Right. I love them for the team. They got balls.
Yeah, but they also understand where the limit is, kind of thing. They it's like a good comedian who can joke about very controversial things, but people still will laugh at that joke rather than punching down or whatnot. And I think No Limit City is kind of like the comedian of the iGaming industry who is able to strike that balance, whereas other gaming providers or the non-comedians are scared of making the same joke because they are not able to. And
I understand the brand No Limit City. I just got it now, and they're the first one who did that in the industry. And now, we got TrueLab that came out with this slot, and I hope they're gonna make other slots like that because it's fun. Because it's fun. So I want to integrate this content. I don't want to close the door to this content. I want to be I want to make Alea the aggregator who's gonna integrate all this content as fast as possible, as reliably as possible, securely as possible through reverse integration. And fortunately, if a software provider doesn't understand that, we're not going to get them live.
But does the operators want this massive amount of games? So today, 5,000 games per month, something like that, are being produced. There's literally hundreds of thousands of games, 600 something game providers producing mostly not that great games.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why would you, as a software provider today, why would you enter the market today in this like prolific landscape of like so many gaming providers and not do something different? What is the purpose? Are they actually able to create a business from this?
So we got there's two type of conversation we have with our operator customers. One is I don't want any 2-digit content, which means nothing at 10%. We don't buy 2-digit content.
Okay. It's a price war.
It has to be 9. It's a polite way to tell you lower the price. The second conversation we have is: do you have only play, Gamzix, and Turbo games? Let's take these 3 ones: only play, Gamzix, and Turbo play. It's important to have them in early stage because let's say they get some traction, okay, and the operator wants them, or they have some kind of relationship together. Sometimes it happens like that in gaming industry. The owner of that operation knows the owner of that software, and he's not going to integrate him because again, there's 3 of them, and you say, no, I have 1. Or I have 2. They're going to look for the aggregator that have the 3 of them. And they're going to look for the aggregator that in the future are going to have the other next 3, and et cetera, et cetera. So we noticed it the hard way. We started doing the reverse integration this year. Our reverse integration open API, blah, 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 protocol wasn't ready before beginning of this year, I think. So before we were doing the integration, we were doing 1 integration every 2 months. Now we do 2 per month, okay? And we didn't have the games. And to be honest, we just released Scribe this month. Scribe. I mean, Scribe, we should have released that. We talked with them first time 2 years ago.
Right.
And we should have released it 3 years ago, actually, or maybe 4, I don't know. Or we're just releasing Scribe now. So I'm not trying to say, yeah, we're so good, we're fast, and we're an example. We struggle too. But I think it's very important to have these contents because they are gems. And sometimes, whether you identify them as gems or not, the content team from the operators are identifying them as gems, okay? And they want these games. So you better be here to deliver it to them, okay? Because they're asking you, you have them? No. Okay, I'm gonna go there and talk to someone else.
But out of the 600 game providers, how many of them are potential gems, would you say today?
No, there's not 600 games, right? No? There is?
Game providers, yes.
There is 600?
Yeah, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of game providers.
I have a list of 250 in my head.
Yeah, okay.
No, of course not. But the thing is that, let's say there's like a rolling reserve. Let's say that today we have 250. It's hypothetical numbers, but just to make my point, we have 250 game providers, and next year we're gonna get 300, and next year 350. So let's say that each year we had 50 more, but actually we had 200 more, and of which 150 dies.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, Green Jade.
Exactly. It's a good example.
Green Jade. I have no opinion about Green Jade, to be honest. I think I like their arcade games. I think Raw Gaming bought them. The arcade part. We were looking to buy the RGS, but finally we're not going to buy the RGS because let's say that the little jewel in the crown was the arcade games. Okay, and they've been bought by Raw Gaming. But there are many of them that are dying. That, to be honest, I don't even remember the names because they come and go. They come and go. There are ones that I believe are not gonna die. Like one that I like very much is Prince Studio. I would have loved to invest in there, but we were too late. Okay, Prince Studio is really cool. I think TrueLab is gonna make it too, and there's probably a lot that are gonna die, we're not gonna see them next year. So my answer to that is that it's a bucket of shit, and in which you have little golden pepite nuggets. But you need to
dig.
Yeah, you need to dig and you need to find them out. And as an investor, I analyze it more and more from another perspective. Basically, it's more life or death for me as an investor. If I put money in a studio that's going to die, I lose a lot of money. As an aggregator, if I integrate a studio that's going to die, I don't give a shit. Okay, so I look more into it, but not from the game's perspective, to be honest, because the games are not live yet. When you invest, more as a business perspective, it will be the business plan and the team that's behind, and what you see that will make the difference before even looking at a game is a team. The people that are behind.
Yeah, it's like in Big Time Gaming's case, there wasn't that much technology. Let's say it was a football team of players and Nick's brain essentially that created this.
It's just Nick and 25 guys. Yeah. Big Time Gaming. I mean, at least 6 months before they sold, or 1 year before they sold, I looked at some numbers. It's just 25 people working in Australia.
Yeah.
But these 25 people costed as much as the 300 people that Red Tiger Gaming had in Sofia.
All right. So it's 25 very special people.
They're probably very special, but they're Australian, you know? And the other ones are Bulgarian.
Okay, let's jump over to another topic. Speaking about questionable markets, so we get both of us actually. We get calls sometimes from investors who are curious to ask questions about publicly traded companies within the iGaming industry, and they right now a lot of investors, they want to understand what is the aggregator's kind of place in the ecosystem, and I suppose some flack that the aggregators get sometimes is that they are kind of acting as a gateway between the supplier and the black market. Let's say, so essentially for suppliers to be able to offer games in the black market without risk of any repercussion, let's say,
with less risk.
But what's your opinion on this? Is that actually the case?
So first of all, I think I received 5 or 6 requests in the past month and a half from a research company from the US.
Yeah.
Asking about evolution. It's funny because the angle was, I just took one of these calls and a prep call. I didn't went on a call. They were offering $400. I've heard they offer you $1,000.
I got $1,000, Alex. Sorry,
I'm cheap.
Maybe one day.
So I answered them. I want a 1,000, and they said we're going to consider it. But
you took my advice. Basically.
I did.
They didn't. They catch your bluff. They catch your bluff, Alex.
No, they did. So we got
take that $400 and buy something nice, okay?
And the thing is, there's two things that is a little bit strange. First, they want to talk about evolution, all of them, and aggregation. So I don't know if evolution probably has communicated as becoming an aggregator. They are already an aggregator if you think about it. With all the games, the studios they've acquired, evolution is by definition an aggregator. Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense, right? They offer several game studios to
NetEnt, Red Tiger, No Limit City, etc.
Right.
Big Time Gaming and whatever. And so on. So my concern about these calls, and the call I had with one of the ladies, I didn't like the vibe. I had the feeling that they were looking to snipe evolution again publicly in the US, like the third attempt. And I don't want to participate to that. I already made a mistake once. I answered to an interview on Vice.com. It was about Malta, and my words were twisted. And Malta, whoever was interviewed, and all of us together and individually, our words were twisted into Malta is a shitty jurisdiction. And we were kind of set it up, you know. And I didn't want to go into the same scenario, so I politely refused. And I don't want to do these interviews because I don't know. You know what they say? Yes, you're right. The target is evolution. This is the fact that they say the target makes me feel uncomfortable.
Exactly, the phrasing of the whole.
And I don't want to participate to that. I mean, within our industry, we have people coming from outside, maybe even from inside, but from other lands or whatever. I know land-based US operators, for example. Companies. I don't want to participate to that. So that's there's something, and they were saying no, it's a fund. We would tell you which one it is if you accept. It's a fund that wants to invest in evolution. Fuck it. That's the first thing. The second thing: do software providers use aggregators to have access to global, pre-regulated, emergent markets? Trying to be polite. Yeah.
Let's call them that. Pre-regulated is the favorite word in the iGaming dictionary.
Pre-regulate's cool. Global is cool. I like the three of them. Of course they do. Of course they do, because they put someone in between. Okay, and they can say, "Oh, we didn't know." And fair enough. Look, our industry has since the beginning there were no licenses. I mean, imagine even pre-Malta. What did you have? You had Curacao. No, it's not.
Kanawake was a classic one that's existed for.
Kanawake, Curacao, Antigua. No, it was Costa Rica, which was not even a license. Okay. Yes, probably. Software providers in some cases use aggregators, or to get to smaller customers that they don't want to deal with directly, or to get to customers that they wouldn't onboard directly. Yeah, it happens. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, when
you need to at some point you just need to draw a line. There's some operator. I mean, we do our QAC. I want to be sure I know who's the UBO behind. That the company that's paying us is the same one that does a license, etc., etc. Now, where do they operate with this specific license? We can be flexible there.
Yeah.
Okay. I would always I mean, I have a simple rule. We don't let any of our customers go in a jurisdiction where there is a local license for a specific vertical. So we wouldn't let them go in Australia with a sportsbook with a Curacao license. Okay? And also if they use VPN, I don't know.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so going back to the calls that that both of us were offered from investors, I got a couple of them as well as requests to basically they had some questions and they want to understand the industry.
How much money you made?
So I took one of them actually because I was curious to see what type of questions they would be asking, like what do they want to know. I want to also understand kind of what level they are on, let's say, like in research. And in this case, there was actually more transparency who they were, which fund they represented, and they were already active investors in this case in Evolution. And I was just curious to see what questions they were asking without going too much in detail of kind of the information that I have, which is basically public information anyway. But it was very basic questions actually. It was more like they were very focused on the aggregators, but they wanted to understand just what is an aggregator and who are the biggest aggregators. And it was very, very basic questions. They basically hadn't heard about this concept of an aggregator, and I suppose it's a bit difficult to get the information online. So they needed to just kind of cross-check who are the biggest aggregators so they could understand these companies and kind of take over from there. But the questions were not really at all anything in depth.
I had the same feedback from a common friend of ours. They told me that the question was so basic.
Yeah. They don't know. I mean, they have no idea.
Yeah, they have no clue.
Yeah.
But why do you think? What's the converging point between asking questions of a fund that already has investment in Evolution, wants to have more investment in Evolution, wants to invest more, and aggregation and the biggest aggregators? What's the?
It seems to be the reason why Evolution got this kind of backlash a couple of years ago is because of there's one line item in the quarterly report, which is basically regulated versus non-regulated revenue. And in the non-regulated column, something like 50-something%. And investors, they want to understand where does this revenue come from. So today, Evolution just reports markets. So they will say Asia, Europe, Latin America, North America, and that's the only insight you get into where this revenue come from. And then you can ask, why is that important? Because in the first or in the second kind of hit piece against Evolution, the argument was laid out that non-regulated revenue should be valued at a much lower multiple because it's riskier revenue.
Three times versus
exactly 6 times in this case, or something like that. Whereas regulated revenue should be valued much higher.
6 times for non-regulated?
Something like that. It was.
I'll sell at 6 times for non-regulated. Okay, I was going for 3 times, but if you offer 6 times,
okay,
it's all yours.
We'll shake out. We'll shake hands on that for sure. So that was kind of the argument. But then I would say actually the counter argument back to that is it's very unlikely that a market moves from gray to black. It seems much more likely that a market moves from gray to white.
That's what we've seen between 2010 and 2017. Yes. And then stake.
And then stake came.
And then stake. So just one thing to finish with what you said. It's very interesting. How can I formulate that? There is a big company.
Right.
There's a new aggregator that came out of fucking nowhere. They have no booth. There are 3 guys walking around. We vetted them. They do have the right to resell this big software provider at a very low price for gray markets. And at the beginning, I thought it was a hack or something, because the price was quite lower, and they would accept everything that the other one wouldn't accept. And it just came out, at least to our knowledge, 3 or 4 months ago, and we have one of our customers that are live with them 6 months ago. So it's a very new kind of situation we've never seen before.
Go more in detail. Like, can you talk a little bit more about this? So it's a new aggregator that is basically serving
a big. I can't say more.
Yeah.
But I've never seen that before. Never ever. So for me, it was these guys were just hacking the games, you know, and no, they're not hacking the games. And we checked internal with the guys, and you can work with them. I said, but our volume with you is going to go down. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Just to close that.
Yes.
What was it? Yeah, steak.
Yes, steak. Steak, biggest operator in the world today?
No.
1xBet?
Yeah.
1xBet bigger?
I would say.
I heard someone saying a steak generates around 12 billion GGR today.
Per?
A year.
12 billion would be 1 billion. My information would be more around 200 million per month.
Right.
There were probably more before
crypto.
No, before the streamer shut down. You know,
For Twitch.
For Twitch. Now we have Roybet coming with Puff Daddy. No, not Puff Daddy. Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg. Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
Ribbit. Amazing.
That's so fucking.
That's a badass booking. Yeah.
It's fucking bad. So I was talking with some youngsters, and they said, "No, Drake is better, man. Snoop Dogg is old generations for you because you're old, you know." But
Snoop Dogg, but it's the old players who are generating the most GGR as well.
Yeah, you're right. So, and we talked about that during the last podcast. Remember, I told you all, there's a lot of big guys that I know were working 20 years for William Hill and Bet365 and Gig and whatever. And they're all opening their Curacao operations, which is okay, it's great. But now they're all opening the Curacao crypto operations. And now you even have a platform that's specialized on only crypto casinos, and that are coming from one of the biggest guys in the industry. I mean, they're not even hiding. I don't want to say the name myself. They're not hiding. They're not hiding.
No. We did an interview. If you win the same guys as with Bad Hombre, I suppose we did.
So Bad Hombre. So
yeah. we spoke with Hugo. He was here in the podcast.
Okay. So we know who's Bad Hombre, and it's crypto, and it's crypto in, it's crypto out. I mean, you go and you register there. You just ask your email address and your password, a la Stake. I mean, 1 + 1, 2, and then no KYC, crypto in, crypto out. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't need to explain.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about doing a market without a license. Yeah.
Is this sustainable, do you think? I mean, say Curacao, for example, now is a license which is a bit on shaky grounds.
We don't need Curacao. Why would you need Curacao?
You just move, if it's not Curacao, you move to another license.
No, there's no license. You don't have payment method involved. It's just crypto.
Right.
There's no license. The only license would be for the game provider. And you go to an aggregator that close their eyes on the games, and you're good without a license. Yeah. And we're not talking about countries, etc. Then you have access to a limited amount of cash. It's what we've said last time. It's a parallel world. So this the fiat world, where people earn money working, okay, and they play casino. And there's this other world where we don't know where the money came from. They sold drugs. I don't know. Nobody knows. And now these guys, they have this card where they can pay with crypto, okay, somewhere, and they could have a high line going into restaurants, hotels. You need a passport in a hotel. Then tax authorities can't come after you wherever you live. Plane? No. Car? No. House? No. So basically, it's like you got cash. You got an unlimited amount of cash. What are you going to do with this cash? Nothing. You're going to go to restaurants, hotels. We said again, prohibited for you. So you just can't go to restaurants, basically. Buy expensive clothes. You want a good watch? They're going to ask you. Above 8,000, 15,000, depends. They're going to ask you who you are. So they go playing casinos. And when they make this big win, they just have to do one time.
Right, this is a classic money laundering.
Classic money laundering. Money laundering costs 40% in a casino with bonus. I mean, there's no bonus, let's say, in a crypto casino, because there is no identity. So you would get a welcome bonus each time you come back. But let's say you have a cashback bonus. But let's say you don't even need the bonus. You just go, you play one time, and you withdraw. So you put 10,000. Again and again and again, and withdraw 10,000, or you withdraw 9,000 or 8,000, it doesn't matter. It's a legitimate casino win.
Yep.
Right?
So classic money laundering trick.
You become a money laundering machine.
Yes. It's like back in Sweden, I guess elsewhere as well, the classic money laundering kind of scheme was to go to the racetrack, the horse racetrack.
Oh, really?
And,
yeah, the tickets.
And you buy the tickets. If you wanted to launder money, you find someone who had a winning ticket.
I remember.
You buy it, and you give him an extra 10%, 20% on top of the winning.
We had the same thing in France with
classic money laundering
lottery tickets.
Another classic money laundering trick is, this is turning out to be like a criminal, education class here. But another really interesting, actually, money laundering thing is buying and selling art. Because buying and selling art is subjective. So there's this classic meme, this kind of meme artist who taped the banana on the wall, right? And this banana is now, 10 million euro, whatever. But who decides what the price is of art? And so, we kind of willed that into existence. And so actually we did attribute value to this. And when NFTs became popular, this was what everyone who didn't understand, what was going on was assuming that this is just money laundering that is taking place, that people are buying and selling monkeys for millions and millions and millions of euro.
Completely.
This is just buying and selling and whitewashing
completely.
money. Yeah,
completely. So there's this. And there's the fact that the biggest markets now that we see coming out are UK and Sweden non-regulated. So why? Let's say that in UK, big VAPs, they hit the gum stop button. They don't know where to play. They are addicted, and they're going to play on non-regulated casinos. Right? So these casinos are becoming the biggest one in Europe. You have operators that have a license in Greece, and they address the market with and without license. I mean, they're risking their own license because they make much more money without license. Yeah.
What will this lead to, Alex, do you think? I mean, at some point the regulators, it's like today the regulators are kind of closing an eye towards the black market to some extent.
I think they
are focusing on making sure that the actual regulators are regulated, but at some point...
I think they don't have the capacity, but I think that... I have the feeling that our industry is moving towards black. So we all went towards white.
Yeah, like 2017, like everyone was like applauding the regulation. Yeah,
I remember we were an operator. We had the UKGC license. I went through 4 or 5 audits. I don't even remember. We had a Swedish license. We were going for the Danish license, and it was really challenging. And I think around 2017, 2018. We saw a lot of big guys from our industry like withdrawing themselves from these B2C operations and going into QSR operations. And now it's going further. It's not even QSR, it's crypto. And we're doing it fully legally. I mean, if someone, a big guy, known guy, reputable guy from this industry would have done that in 2013 or 14, we would have all looked at him like, he's going down.
Yeah, gangster, like this like gangster mafia activity kind of thing. Yes.
We're doing Sweden, and we're doing UK. Yeah. And these guys are having this QSR license. Now, it's like all good. And I'm not judging anyone, please. But as an observation, our industry is going that route. Whether it's through crypto, whether it's through Curacao on countries that are gray, whether it's through crypto and or Curacao through countries that already have a license, a local license, more and more people from our industry that have knowledge, that have worked in very big organizations are going there. So it means that it's an industry shift, okay? And the gambling industry, and to be honest, I don't think we're responsible, because I'm not trying to exonerate the industry. We've tried really hard. And we felt on the battlefield of UK, for example. Who stayed in the UK? The Bet365s, the people that had land-based operations. They're the only one that finally could stay. But anyone else was killed.
Yeah, the biggest operators are fine, and anyone else is...
No, it's not the biggest. The land-based ones, the one that have shops on the ground.
Oh, right.
That's the one.
Retail ones,
yeah,
yes.
The retail ones. Otherwise, it's unsustainable to be in the UK. And with now Germany, like the 3-second spin, and you can't spend more than this and that. Okay, some regulator came into this game with zero knowledge, no common sense about what gaming is. iGaming, gambling, call it as you want. And put some unsustainable rules. That's what happened. Yeah. Seriously, look at Switzerland, for example, the taxation model of Switzerland, where basically the more GGR you make, the more the percentage that you have to pay grows, and basically you can, whether you make 1 million GGR or 10 million GGR, at the end of the day you're going to make the same profit, because it's all going to go in tax. Okay. I don't want to play the industry advocate here and judging the regulators, but some of them did a pretty bad job.
Right.
Okay. And why do I say we tried, and I include myself? All these guys and all the big guys, they did their wide operation. They took the UKGC license. They took the Swedish license. I remember going to Birmingham to Raising Standards UKGC meeting, and I come there and I say, guys, it seems I think we got our first fine. To be honest, I don't even remember if we got it or we were about to get it. I think we got it. And all the other guys were laughing at me. They said, welcome to the club. You're one of us now. I was like, oh shit, guys. And I was feeling ashamed. And they were laughing at me. They said, you have a fine? They all had a fine. I was the only one, because we got the license maybe 1 or 2 years ago. So yeah, welcome to the club. Okay. And then now another round of fine came, and the white paper came out, and these guys, we took a different path. We as Alea, we were a B2C. We didn't shift toward grey B2C. We just took one step back from the player and from the regulator, and we became a B2B. I consider, because I've seen it when I was a B2C, I thought, fuck, NetEnt is in a very much better position than me. They're much more comfortable than I am. The regulator comes to knock on my door, not on their door. I'm going to make a step back. I'm going to become a software on aggregator. And it's much less pressure, you know? And that's why we shifted to B2B, to be honest. It's because the pressure of the flamethrower of different jurisdictions, different regulators. We said, okay, we step back. We step back. I'm just going to become a B2B. And to be honest, it's super cool. Yeah. I mean, in terms of licensing, we need sometimes an ISO certification, sometimes a technical certification, sometimes a little license. And so we don't even have a PAM, and that's a choice also. That's a business decision. Why don't we have a PAM, a player account management? Because we don't want to handle player data. The closer you get to the player, the closer you get to Big Brother that's behind. I don't want to have player data. I just want to have game data, anonymous game. I'm just an aggregator. It goes in, it goes out. Right. Okay, that's it. No RNG, not even RNG. I'm not even a software provider. You can't tell me I'm altering the data. You know, it's just passing through. That's the best position to have, seriously. And it's a very sustainable position. That's why Alea is where it is today.
Every time I speak to people who work in especially the regulated operators, and you ask them, well, how's it going? It's always I don't know if you've seen that meme with the dog who is sitting down at the table drinking coffee, and there's fires all around, and the dog is saying, "This is fine." That's a feeling I get every time I speak to an operator. Especially like Alex is funny of video slots. He's always you ask Alex, how's it going? Even though video slots is doing really well, he's always like, it's chaos everywhere.
No.
Chaos everywhere.
Alex,
it's like unlimited.
I got nothing but respect for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing super well with video slots.
I mean, he went for every fucking single license. They got fined everywhere. They're still standing.
They're still fighting.
It's a company made by one guy. I mean, he has two business partners, but wow, respect, man.
Yeah. And people outside of video slots that have been looking into the company have been saying like how incredibly well managed video slot is. Like if you're looking at like being able to find profitability as an operator who is on the size of other operators who are all struggling. But video slot is like the bumblebee who's not supposed to fly.
Completely.
But they do it anyway.
And fully regulated. And because some operators there, they would have this side, and then on the other side, they take a little bit of traffic there. They don't. They just fully fucking regulated. And they have this amazing product, the slots tournament, I forgot the name. Which is such an innovative product they developed like 7-8 years ago, and now they're going into B2B with Raw Gaming. No, really, I've got a lot of respect for these guys. Yeah.
Alex, how are you with the time? It's 3:45. I know that you have a 4 p.m. thing. What do you choose? Podcast or private?
Let's go.
Let's go. I like it. So. Where we get excited for the things. Where will this all lead, though? So if all tier 2 operators, with the exception of say video slots, are moving towards gray and black in order to find profitability, to the extent
to survive, huh?
to the extent of to survive, right? It's a survival tactic.
Yeah, completely.
It's not that they are necessarily choosing this path.
No, it's not that they're making a shitload of money and it's really survival.
It's like your company is gonna go under, or you choose the kind of gray path that then leads to the next decision and the next decision, and it really is kind of like it's like you point out earlier. It almost is like the boiling frog kind of scenario. Completely. Where you 10 years ago you wouldn't have taken this step from one day to the other, but with time and with pressure, slowly,
one
surely,
step after another.
Surely the water is getting hotter and hotter, and the frog is not jumping out. Essentially, where will this lead eventually? Where does the gray markets are getting fewer and fewer? Yes, there is crypto, but on the other side, there's some quite interesting technology advancements now as well. Because if you think about it, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the blockchains are public ledgers, and so now there are AI kind of advancements and technologies where you can basically. I'm like pretty stupid in trying to explain this, but because the ledger is public, you can basically backdate and analyze the entire blockchain with enough computing power. And so with the right technology, even if a crypto has been transferred to hundreds and hundreds of different accounts, you can there are now tools where you can analyze where the money goes, like very publicly and specifically. So what that means then is that this anonymous side to crypto is maybe not as anonymous any longer. And so again, where will all this lead to? Eventually you would think that the gray market is going to shrink. Kind of this approach to crypto eventually, when the hammer comes down from the US government at some point, just like it did in the late 2000s and Black Friday, where poker was shut down overnight, like this in the US. Eventually, you would think that this kind of like smorgasbord of grey market revenue that is being generated today is not exactly going to grow. What do you think? What's going to happen?
I agree with you. So if you take a company like Coinspade, for example, that does crypto, provides the crypto wallet for casinos to players to deposit and withdraw, they do analyze the ledgers because they want to be sure that the money that's deposited it's clean money. Okay, so we already have that built in. It's a kind of KYC within the crypto ecosystem for online gambling. Okay. You should actually maybe invite Max, the founder of Coinspade, which is a very interesting young gentleman. Ivan Montik, the co-founder of Software, is involved in the project, and I think it's a beautiful project, seriously. Now, we have digital currencies that are coming from states. We have them in China, it's coming in the US, and it's frightening. It's really frightening. I never believed in crypto. You remember the conversation we had back in time, and I even think that crypto is a Trojan horse. It has been sold to us as we are the rebellion. We rebel against government, so we go crypto because crypto, they can't control it, it's decentralized, and that bullshit. Crypto is the Trojan horse to make you accept digital currency. Once you accept a digital currency, you move towards governmental digital currency, and now they can control this as much as you want. And you go into the Chinese system where basically we mix social media, social ranking, and digital currency, and then your money worth nothing. Okay, if you're not being a good boy, you can't take the train, you can't take the plane, you can't rent this, you can't rent that. Your money is seized. You don't have access to this type of food, etc., etc. And it's coming. And I really believe that crypto is almost a psyop that has been here to make us accept digital currency and taking us completely on reverse.
Right.
It's a reverse psychology
thing.
And we're seeing now a lot of high-ranking government people talking, especially in the US, about digital currency, and we see it happening in China. And yes, you're completely right. Once this is there's no more that, and what they want to remove is cash. And for dinosaurs like me, and I believe we're right, cash is king, because cash is anonymous. And the only thing I would exchange cash for is diamonds, because they're light, hard to exchange, but still they're light. If shit happens, you can have them in your pocket. It's not like gold, okay? But cash, man, cash is king. If you don't want the control of the government, of big brothers upon you, it's cash. You want cash. And you talk to taxi drivers and all these old guys, and it's like, give me cash. I know what you mean. That's where we're going.
It feels like you have a dystopian vision.
It's completely dystopian. Come on, we just got out of COVID, and we know this vaccine was a fucking hoax. Okay. Today we know. Read New York Post, Washington Times. Read the articles. Read the latest studies and investigations that are going in the U.S. Parliament. We know it. Now we know it. We know it. It's not like advertised like everybody was telling you to take your vaccine, COVID. Even Bill Cosby will tell you, take your vaccine, your COVID vaccine. But everybody, it was outrageous. You need to look at some videos, or it was forced upon population, or people that were not taking the vaccine were shamed, and it's terrible. It's outrageous.
But even if,
and for your kids,
yes,
you need to boost your kids.
Right.
And now we have Justin Trudeau saying, "Oh no, I never said that." And of course you did, because it's taped, it's videotaped, and you were forcing people even passing through Canada and kids, etc. So we need to be a little bit more clever.
But even if that was true, with vaccine efficiency not being as high as was claimed, do you think the launch of the vaccine, there was something nefarious behind the push for forced vaccination? Or do you think that maybe
no, come on.
Do you think that maybe there was a lot of narratives floating around in the world at the same time, and the government needed to stick to one narrative in order to not kind of
follow the money?
notice?
It's as simple as that. Follow the money, okay? People, look at Pfizer. Actually, I don't have the numbers. I don't remember the numbers anymore. By the way, it's outrageous. Okay, and Bill Gates' statement about the vaccine before and after he dumped his shares into whichever company was producing the vaccine. They're very efficient. Like, we're not sure they work that much anymore.
But Bill Gates is one of the biggest donors to global health in the world, right? Like he has a history of working.
Yeah, but you need to see the statements, how he changes statements. Like, these guys, they don't care it has been recorded, and you can show it, because let's say if you touch 10 million people with your message, the counter message that comes and say, hey, but you said that, and look, it's recorded, etc., but now you say the opposite, is going to touch 2 or 3% of the people. So they don't give a shit about saying one thing and the other thing after. They're going to be exposed, but the percentage of the population that's going to be exposed to the counter information is very low, So it's just follow the money. Yeah, companies made outrageous amount of money. Not just companies, individuals that were in governments that were decision makers. They probably got bribed too. Before it was who was doing that before? The industrial military council. The industrial military. Yeah, exactly. These guys, the bad guys. Now Big Pharma is doing the same thing. It's money, just about money, okay? I don't think I'm not as conspirationist to think they try to lower the human population or whatever fuck, or inject us some kind of software inside I'm not there.
The magnets on the arm.
You know what this is?
Did you try it? Well, you did. You were vaccinated.
No, I didn't. Oh. Ladies, I'm unvaccinated.
Unvaccinated.
No, there's some people, they go in a field. There's like 200 meters or something like that with 2 computers. There's 2 groups, vaccinated and unvaccinated. And each time an unvaccinated one comes to a computer, it's okay. And each time a vaccinated one comes to a computer, there's the new MAC address that appears on the computer. Allegedly. This is
not at all fake in the background. Not at all someone who wants to do something sensational. It's Tim Cook who is behind the vaccination drive to slave us all under the Apple products.
Look, one Sunday we go somewhere in Malta and we do the test, you need to do the test. Of course it's bullshit. Of course. It's like this documentary Loose Change about the towers, the Twin Towers, etc. And it was so much bullshit, like 2 hours full of shit. It took me 12 hours to debunk. The problem is that it takes a lot of time to debunk shit. Yeah. 12 hours to debunk that this guy was full of shit. And after he came back, I'm sorry, I didn't have right information. And it was all about the fact that it was inside up. And it's bullshit.
Yeah. I find the best way to find out if it's bullshit or not is not to look at just one side, is to watch the debates. Because that often is when arguments get exposed.
Yes, but you need also to go and verify the sources of this debate, and it takes a lot of time. Nobody does it. I mean,
luckily we have Alexandre Tomic.
Yeah, no, I got a company. I mean, so I'm running.
Superhero for truth.
No. I still didn't go and debunk if the Earth was flat or not. That's
who pays Alex? Who pays Alex? That's my question.
That's very good.
Who pays Alex? The
dark force.
Well, the operators and suppliers are supposed to pay Alex. Fantastic, Alex. Last question for you today is. If you didn't end up in the gambling industry, Where would you have ended up otherwise in life, do you think?
I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a cosmonaut. It's funny I say cosmonaut because it's the Russian word.
Yes, exactly.
I'm originally from Serbia, so it's probably that's why I say cosmonaut and not astronaut or spationaut, which is a French one.
Where would you go just to leave Earth?
Physics, exploration of consciousness. Why? There is a sub part of physics where basically they are trying to retro-engineer the reality. They're trying to see patterns, to see if this is a simulation. Okay, but I would say physics and exploration of consciousness, and it's probably something I would do at some point. When I retire. Or
why is it so important for you to, in minute detail, understand these type of concepts? What changes when you understand the bigger concepts?
Because it's about who we are. Because have you seen the movie Dark City?
No.
So there's these humans. They live in this world and. It's always dark city. It's always it's a city actually, and it's always dark. There's no sun, and some guy starts like there's something wrong about it, and he finds out that every night there's these people that they give them some kind of shots, and the rich become poor. They move them in different setups. This movie was released 1 year before The Matrix. It has the same imagery, it's the same story, except that it's aliens. It's a race of aliens that has took over humanity. I don't want to spoil it. It's a very interesting movie. It's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. Dark City, okay, from Alex Proyas. I want to know if at night we reset it. I want to know if there are rulers upon us. Animals, they don't know what we do to them and why we do it to them. And I imagine that something similar may be happening to us. I want to know the simple philosophical question: who I am, where I come from, what I do here. And
you have to find your purpose.
Yes, and these are the most important questions that any human being should ask themselves: is who I am, where I come from, what I'm doing here. What's the purpose of that? Oh, you're nothing. You're just some meat bag on a piece of rock or for dust. Okay, maybe. And, all right, maybe not. Maybe we're something else. Maybe there's something above us. Maybe there's something nice above us. Maybe there's something which is really not nice above us. Maybe we in an open-air slaughterhouse and we harvested by a multidimensional race. I don't know. I mean, things I've experienced taking psychedelics that are very disturbing and that many psychonauts experience. That's the funny thing. It's not just you having this kind of perception. It's you ask anyone or you go on forums like DMT Nexus, everybody's saying the same story. I want to find out at some point. And if we need to go and kick their ass,
we need to be ready.
Of course.
I'll be there with you.
Of course.
I mean, this is also a trend which is becoming very fast prolific in society now with psychedelic experiences and psychedelic journeys, where in clinical trials it's becoming more accepted that some psychedelics are actually not harmful to your body, which makes it more acceptable in a testing environment to use it for mostly to treat patients with PTSD and other mental challenges. But another part of doing psychedelics, of course, is to discover yourself and to discover something bigger. Where will this lead to, do you think? And what's your opinion on
that's an interesting question. Igor, yes. I'm sorry I'm late to our meeting. Please forgive me.
Okay.
It's 4 o'clock, and I need to answer that question.
I'm gonna write to Igor while you answer it.
Please, thank you. We have different ways to take psychedelics. Let's say you take the mushroom dose, okay, and you have this up and down. So you took basic psilocybin or LSD, right? And you already have very profound and meaningful experiences.
I'm filming Alex here, sending to Igor.
Sorry,
While
Igor.
he's late to his meeting.
Sorry. And now you have DMT. So we first start with psilocybin, psilocin that we have in the mushrooms, both compounds, psilocybin, psilocin. And if you take a lot of them, you'll have 25 milligrams of psilocybin, psilocin, which I don't remember. I think it's a couple of grams of mushrooms, 4 grams or something like that. And you have a very profound experience. You can go more and then have an even more profound experience where reality dissolves around you. Then you will take ayahuasca. Same thing. You have to ingest 2 things and you go for a couple of hours. Now with ayahuasca, it's more with magic mushrooms, it's more you are where you are and they come to you, kind of. It all tells a little bit the reality. With the ayahuasca, it's more you go somewhere. You have this path through, you go through this tunnel thing. So first you don't feel good, you need to take more, force yourself to take more, then you go through the tunnel, and then you need to take more, and then you get out of the tunnel and you're in the fucking DMT world, which now it's called DMT space or DMTX. And I'm getting there, it's very interesting. Or you can smoke DMT. And smoking DMT is like a 10-minute trip. You vape it, boom. Bam, bam. It's like an interdimensional portal gun. 5-10 minutes gun.
You can't escape it.
Yeah, but the cool thing is 5-10 minutes. You just go. You imagine you're an explorer. You're a psychonaut, and you just go for 5-10 minutes. It's not like the long march of 4-5 hours. It's just bam, bam. Okay? But now there's more. There's something that reminds me a lot of the movie 12 Monkeys. Which was done by Terry Gilliam. It's Bruce Willis, you remember? And the rights were bought from a French movie maker called Chris Carter for a movie called La Jetée. Black and white, 25 minutes photo shot movie. You need to watch it on YouTube. La Jetée from Chris Carter. And you should watch 12 Monkey again. And basically, we are in a post-apocalyptic world where there was a virus, right? And these guys, they mind time travel. So they talk to them, they put them in a state, drug them, and they go back in time. They can't change time. There is not the grandfather paradox where you could kill your grandfather, then you can just be kind of an observer. And you're not going to change the future when you come back. But now you can change you're going to change your present when you come back. Okay, the virus is made of this. You come back, you didn't change anything, the virus is still here, but I know which kind of virus it is, and now I can fight it, okay? Very interesting concept of time traveling. There's the Gateway program that has been developed by the Monroe Institute in the 80s, and that the CIA explored, and they released a paper that was unclassified in the 2000, and the TikToker just released it like 3 years ago. It was like a big show, CIA doing multidimensional traveling, through astral projections, etc. All right, but now we have a protocol. And basically, it came from the fact that people were going into DMT space and they were seeing the same thing. It's a little bit what I described with magic mushrooms before. And they say, do you see this like a green mountain? Yeah. And you've seen also the weird red creature? Yeah. Okay, we've been in the same place. We talked to the same guy. All right? And now, how do I control this experience? Through infusion, dripping. Okay? So you put a team in a room and you inject them, not in one shot, dripping. So slowly you control and you go for hours or days. You send a team of psychonauts into DMT space. And they all have, you know, when a spy goes, you see in the spy movie, the spy is like going there and there's someone talking here, you know, and saying there's someone coming at 3 o'clock, you know,
right.
and there's an enemy there. Exactly the same thing, exactly like in the movie from Chris Carter, exactly like in 12 Monkeys. You have these guys talking, like saying, go there, do this, do that. And they talk to each other with the other guys that are tripping, basically, for days or hours. And these kind of experiments are being backing up by VCs to explore the DMT space. Just look for it. Okay, so Joe Rogan talks about it. There is a very interesting talk about, there's like 4 or 5 people, they talk about this for 1 hour, they're all involved in that. And now there's an article in Vice. So basically you have VCs now that are funding companies to explore DMT space. In which world are we living?
How do you put a valuation on that company?
Man,
how do you put the valuation?
I don't know. I mean, we reach a point of nonsenseness, but in a good way. This shit is real. I mean, I've tried it. It's real. But that now, these guys, in a very creative and in a very audacious way, go look for funds to develop a protocol, a medical protocol that has been developed actually by Dr. Strassman. Dr. Strassman is the guy, DMT, the God Molecule, written maybe 20 years ago, the book.
Right.
And he developed a classic. And he developed the protocol in 2018 with another doctor, Andrew, whoever, not Huberman.
Not Huberman.
not Huberman.
Yeah, he's
Huberman is getting there. He's done his second podcast about psychedelic this week.
Yeah, he's like warming up to psychedelics,
so
I think, right?
I just listened to the plane yesterday. Second podcast about psychedelic this week. The podcast before was with Susan, I forgot her name, the girl that's the Swedish woman that's doing cold plunge, and the week before was about psychedelics again. So it's almost 2 shows in a row about psychedelics. So
and for context, Andrew Huberman is the most prolific science teacher in the world today, probably.
He is a neurobiologist and ophthalmologist at Stanford University. That is, I believe, the best vulgarizer, I don't know how you say, but let's say podcaster, science podcaster.
Yeah, so science educator, you could say.
Exactly.
Yes.
And he's going into all the studies, and he's inviting really high-level scientists, all from Stanford and Harvard, etc. So the guy's really legit. He's recognized as one of the most legit guys.
Yeah, he's the one.
And he's talking about psychedelics a lot lately, you know. So there's something going on into this area, and we need to look at these companies that are doing this kind of exploration. Call it whatever you want. Call it multidimensional. Call it human psyche. Call it drug. Whatever. We need to look at them. I think there's something really important coming out of it, because at the same time, in the world of physics, quantum physics, I forgot the name of the guy now, he is explaining that the physics is shifting completely right now. They stopped trying to mix together the Newtonian physics and the quantic physics, because this, you know, there's separate rules.
Einstein and the small, the theory and the big, and the theory and the small. Yep.
So you have non-locality in quantum physics,
because it doesn't match. Basically, they can't unify.
So in quantum physics, everything's possible. Non-locality. Okay,
everything is random.
You touch a neutrino, an atom, or whatever proton here, it affects another one which is millions of kilometers from there, and they can't communicate faster than speed of light, because it's up at the same time. The speed's experiment. There's so many things.
Spooky actions at a distance. Quantum entanglement. Yes.
And basically, what this guy is saying is that what we are experiencing is just the UI. It's just an interface of a computer that's behind, and there's non-locality. And basically, how we experience it through our senses We just look at, we're filters, and we just look at what is important for our survival. So basically, animals, they don't perceive the world the world the same way that we do, and it would be very interesting actually to become friends with these little people and see how they see the world, because we could learn a lot about the world and ourselves. Okay, instead of using them for meat. That what he's saying is it's mind-boggling. Is basically reality is made out of consciousness. So they now focus on only one thing: it's consciousness. Consciousness is creating reality, and it's the speed experiments, double speed experiment. If we look at light, they're particles. If we don't look at light, they're waves.
Right. It's both at the same time.
No. Yeah, it's both at it's both as a,
but when you observe,
imagine it's like a printer. Imagine that light is ink. It solidifies if you look at it, and it becomes particle. And if you don't look at it, it's into an unsolidified, unexpressed state of wavelengths. I don't look at it; it can become whatever. It could. It's a virgin ink. I look at it; it becomes point, and now it has a state. What made the difference? The fact that I looked at it.
Yeah.
The fact that a consciousness directed its attention towards it, and that's exactly what new physics is saying that this world is. It's created by consciousness.
Right.
Wow.
Amazing. What a way to round off the podcast today. I think, Alex, this leaves things wide open for a follow-up here in a very short time. But I'm going to let you off to our very good friend Igor now.
And thank you for having me. It's always a very, very enlightening conversation we're having.
Absolutely, Alex. Absolutely. And let's do it again soon, my friend.
Definitely.
Love it. I love you, buddy.
You too.
Take care.